Firstly, can I say Ocean Reach? This is one of my favorite labels. You've done so well. I really, really like it. And I like how your picture, when you turn it upside down, is the picture on the other can. I think that's fantastic, and I think you've done really well. So props to you. Flip It and Reverse It, a West Coast IPA and an East Coast IPA. The difference between the two is the West Coast is going to go heavy on the hops, and the East Coast is going to go for fruity flavors instead. Noticeably about these two beers is they're completely different in color. So your East Coast, quite cloudy, but something representing juice, compared to your West Coast, which is somewhat a little bit more clear, but doesn't look as juicy, which is pretty much the difference between the two. One's juicy, one's bitter. Both these beers use Eclipse hops and Vic Secret. Sounds very familiar. Where have I heard this before? Its main premise is that it uses all Australian hops, two being Eclipse and Vic Secret. Now, out of the two, this one this one smells like pineapple juice. I like the smell of this one. Whereas this one smells more like tropical juice, like mango-y. Ooh, we're gonna get some interesting flavors out of these two beers. So, head on both these beers, pretty good. Color, excellent. Taste. That made the inside of my mouth like pucker. Oh, this tastes earthy. So it's got a bit of a earthy flavor to it. All right, let's go to the West Coast. A lot of similarities. These are not as bitter as I expect. I was expecting like juice and bitterness. They've still got a lot of flavor, just not the flavors I expected. So this isn't as fruity as what I expected. Okay, earthy and piney. It tastes like the zest. Whoa, you peel a mandarin and the skin has that smell. It tastes like the smell of a mandarin peel. It's actually quite nice. I'm always looking out for new release beers, and I saw these on the shelf and I was super excited because I was trying to buy them online and couldn't figure out. Buying alcohol online is very difficult in Australia, but I went to a bottle shop and found them and I was cheering. I was so happy. So I'm glad that I got to try both of these. My preference out of the two, East Coast IPA. Maybe that's something I should try and make. I definitely think the East Coast IPA is my favorite. I think I might start going East Coast IPAs. I actually really don't mind that. I actually really like that. It's really, really good. I would highly recommend it. The West Coast is just as good. It's just comes down to my personal preference of that I prefer something that's a bit more, in a way, juicy. But most importantly, how do they taste together? Stronger aroma, which is pretty good. I think that works out quite nicely, but really, that brought out a lot of bitterness. So they had doubled their bitterness. Both these beers together are very piney. It's like biting into a pine cone, if anything. Cool. I've always subscribed to the idea that beer should have lots of flavor. And one beer that uses the exact same hops as these two beers right here has managed not to do that. And it's this beer right here. So follow this link right here and I'll tell you exactly how I feel about this beer.